Hi everybody! So in this series of videos, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know in order to knit the Goddess washcloth. You can find the actual pattern for that washcloth on my website, stitchandwitch.com. So there'll be 6 videos in this series. And in this first video, we're going to talk about just the materials that you're going to use for this project. So obviously, you're going to need yarn, right? That's a big one. This is cotton. I highly suggest cotton if you're doing this square as a dishcloth, but if you're doing it for, say, a square on an afghan or something like that, you may want a different kind of fiber. But if you're doing it as a dishcloth or as a bib, which is what I'm going to end up doing in the end, cotton is the best way to go. This is Lily Sugar and Cream. It's at every big box store ever. You can get this at Michael's, Joann's, wherever. And this is in the Black Currant color. And I'm doing this bib specifically for a friend of mine, for her little girl, so that's the color I've chosen for her. The other thing you need is knitting needles. I have my Brittany needles in a size 8. You could use a size 6 or a size 8 for these. If you're not completely brand new to knitting and you know that you tend to knit a little bit larger, you might want to switch to a 6. But I'm going to use a size 8 or a 5mm, my Brittany needles. This will be later at the end, but we'll need a darning needle, scissors, of course, and then if you are going to do a bib instead of a dishcloth or a washcloth, you're going to need a tape measure. There's one more supply that I want you to have that I want to discuss a little bit. So I'm going to call your cell phone a supply in your knitting. And the reason I'm going to do that is because especially early on as you're learning to knit, it can be really hard to keep track of where you are in your pattern. If you're switching stitches, which we're going to do in this pattern, we're going to go from knit stitch to purl stitch. If you're switching stitches in your pattern, it can be really hard to tell because you don't know how to read your stitches yet. We'll talk later about what that means. But for now, what I want to show you is I'm going to take this pattern right from the PDF and I'm going to copy the whole thing into my notes. I have a special folder in my notes on my phone just for knitting patterns, if you see. So if there's a pattern that I'm in the process of working on, I put it on here, and then as I do each line of the pattern, I will delete that line. That's how I'm going to keep track of where I am in the pattern. You could also do this on paper if you work better that way, or you can just try to follow the pattern, but coming from a place of experience, I can tell you that you're going to lose your place if you do that. And it's so much easier if you have a way to mark it. So either print the pattern off and mark it down, check mark each line as you go, or put it into your notepad on your phone and delete each line as you go. Whichever way works best for you.